Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today we're taking a look at a card game, a trick-taking game, and the sequel to Tournament at Camelot. It's Tournament at Avalon. Tournament at Avalon here is, just like the first game in the series, a trick-taking game, but about the craziest, most wild, chaotic, bizarro trick-taking game I can think of. Okay, a lot of people have described this game as sort of Cosmic Encounter meets trick-taking. Cosmic Encounter being a game where you have a weird alien power, and there are 50, many more actually, but in the core box, 50 of them, and you do something bizarre and strange. And then it sort of works out along the way. This is that kind of game. It mixes those two ideologies. Trick-taking, very traditional ideas, but then a bunch of crazy stuff happening around that. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to show you on the table some of the ideas in here, and we'll come on back. I'll tell you some more. To set up the game, we're going to give each player 2 cards that are going to track their health, and they begin at 400 here, where you are robust. You'll drop down to stable, and then feeble, and finally you are done here. And that's when the game's going to be over. When somebody has 0 health, at that point, whoever has the most health is going to be the winner of the game. And so your job in the game, what you're trying to do, is basically remain as strong as possible. And you do so by avoiding taking tricks of cards, okay? To set up beyond that, everybody is given a character. You can choose one if you want. You have the protagonist, and they will have another card that comes with it, a companion, that will click on to play, and you'll have access to it when you fall below a certain threshold here. So it's basically a catch-up mechanism, okay? You have the secondary deck of cards, another catch-up mechanism that will be given out to the players that are doing the worst in the game after a whole hand of cards has been played. And then we're going to shuffle up the deck of cards and give every player 12 cards, all right? Now, the general flow of the game is pretty straightforward. You play a card on your turn, following, of course, all the special rules the characters have. But you play a card, the next players have to follow suit, and whoever played the weakest card takes those and puts those in their wound pile. And that's what you're trying to avoid. You don't want to take tricks in this game. That way you can remain healthy, all right? So the different suits are here. So you've got sorcery, as you see there. You've got swords. We've got deception. And we've got arrows. And there's also a wild suit, alchemy here, that can be played for any of these 4, okay? Every one of these cards that players take at the end of the whole hand, all 12 cards have been played, you're going to lose 5 points of health for every one of these. If the card is poisoned, as seen over here by the splatter, then that one's 10, okay? And so that's generally the way it works. There's also in the deck a few special cards, okay? There are 3 of those, and they are going to be these. One of them is going to allow you to reverse who takes the trick. Basically, the highest number would take, and that it itself being a 1. And then it tells you across the bottom how many points is this worth. It says, worth 25 injury points to whoever's stuck with this one. If you take that, that's pretty bad. This one here is going to be the Apprentice Sorceress. It is, you assign a student a value to it when you play it, and it's worth 10 injury points to whoever takes it. And then the Mists of Avalon here, when you play this, you discard the lowest card in the melee, and you shame that player. And this card's value is 25, and is always in suit. So again, lowest normally would take it, so very, very safe number here. Now, what is shame? Well, on your turn, if you cannot follow suit, you instead discard a card and you are shamed. You take 5 injury points. So you go down by 1 tick on the card. And that's the general flow. Once that's all done and everybody has adjusted their tracker, you see if the companion comes into play, and then we would deal out some cards from here. And these are special abilities that the players doing the worst would get. During the first hand, it just goes to whoever's the weakest. During the second hand, it goes to the 2 weakest players, and so on. And above and beyond that, players get these if they are 100 or 200 points weaker than the person in the lead. So again, it's a very straightforward catch-up mechanism. You're doing really, really badly, you're going to get a bunch of these, and that round for you is probably going to be a little bit better, okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about these character abilities, the special powers that the characters have. Everybody has a unique ability in the whole game. So, for example, this one, Sir Galahad, says, when you must lead a melee, which is, a round of playing cards and following the suit on the card, declare a suit for the melee that you can legally play, something you've got. The player to your right plays the first card of the melee. Play continues counterclockwise. So this one's going to change the way that round for you. If you're the one who has to lead the first card, you make a player next to you do it, and you get to play last. You get to see what happened. And if you only had if you had a 3 and a 6 in swords, and when it comes back around to you, you can get away with just discarding the 6, or discarding the 3 rather, and still not take it. That's a good way to get rid of that card, and so on, right? This one, you may never receive shame injury. Instead of discarding when shamed, add a card to an opponent's hits pile. So this one, you can, when you would not follow suit, give somebody a wound, or possibly, multiple injury points. So things like that are the things you're going to find, okay? And then in this deck are some really swingy, powerful things. I'm just going to show you one example, okay? Alright, here's the one I want to show you, and it is called Fairies. Fairies, again, you get this if you are losing the most at the end of a round, 12 cards played, and it says, before tallying weapon hits, meaning before scoring your tricks taken. Again, they hurt you. All players simultaneously pass their weapon hits pile to the players seated next to them. You decide if all cards are passed to the left or right. That is beyond powerful, right? You can see how if this player is the one who isn't doing so hot, there may be a 310 while everybody else only took a couple of hits. They have this card. If this person does great, but this person does terribly, I can play this at the end and take their pile and they get mine, and then this player gets stuck with this person's pile, and then you score how many hits you took. Extremely wild stuff, okay? I want to put that in perspective as to what kind of game this is, so you understand that, so that it's clear to you, okay? There we go. Another thing I want to mention, this little thing here is just at the beginning of the hand when you're dealt your 12 cards, you're supposed to pass 3 to the left. And then next round, they're passed to the right, and so on. But that's basically how the game works. You now have an idea of what's going on. There are 10 characters, each one having their own sidekick here, companion. There are some location cards. These locations that some of these special cards are going to use. Things like that. So there's quite a bit of content in it, but it is wild, swingy, whiz-bang craziness a lot of the time. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it, who I think it might be good for. That is Tournament at Avalon. Now, I have played Tournament at Camelot as well, and I like that one too. So I do like this one. They're very similar, in fact. And that, I suppose, could be one of the things I could say as a negative about this one. Though this is going to be largely a positive review with a lot of caveats as to, because I think this game is certainly not for everybody. Much more than other games. One of the caveats being right now that I think if you are a fan of Tournament at Camelot, you might not need this one because they are similar. They can be, you can sort of combine things between them. Haven't done that. But they are pretty similar games. And so you might only need one or the other. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So that's the first thing I'll put out there. If you have Camelot, you're going to want to dig deeper into this one, read the rule book, look into it a little bit more to see if it's something you want or maybe even need, even if you do want it, because it might be too close to the other one for you, okay? But let's break it down. I'm going to start with the theme, which I do like here. This medieval fight filled with powerful moves and crazy intrigue and strangeness and, mythical things. I like all of that. So I do like the theme here. That theme, again, translates into a game that's kind of wild, but I think it works. Okay, the aesthetics I think are all right. I like the large format cards. These are nice. I like the artwork. I like the way everything is laid out. The writing on it and everything is pretty clear across the board, okay? The quality of the cards, and it's a card game, that's basically it, except for a few tokens, is alright. They could be a little bit better. These feel very sort of slab of cardboardy kind of feeling cards. Also, the deck, when punched, was cut face up, which means if you are someone who riffle shuffles and you shuffle these face down, they are real clunky, okay? They're going to bunch up a lot. You want to do it backwards like this at least a few times face up, because then they have the sharp edge when they get cut. And they make that sharp edge on the bottom. Then you can cut like this and it's real nice and crisp, okay? So be aware of that. I tried it a few times. I thought, man, these don't shuffle well. Tried it the other way. I'm like, I got cut the other way. So there it is. But yeah, these are fine. They just, it's like, a chunk of cardboard I'm smacking someone with, which you will do in the game. So it is also more problematic than that. Sort of at the core of the game is the idea that the look of this game doesn't necessarily match the feel of this game. And that, I think, goes partly into the aesthetics as well. Anybody who looks at this might expect a different game than the game they get, okay? This looks very stoic, very serious, and maybe even regal in some ways, and that's not the kind of game experience you are going to get. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Okay, the replay value I think is good. There are a lot of special abilities, lots of different cards. This extra craziness deck here with the catch-up cards is filled with stuff, so I like that. And then there will be a lot of replayability here. This also plays a bunch of people, right? So you can play up to 6, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah, 3 to 6. So there's that too. The replay value is certainly good. The game arc. I jokingly wrote down here that this is catch up the game, which it kind of is, okay? And again, that'll be my second big caveat here for you, in case it's something you don't like in games. This game has very blunt, very obvious catch-up mechanisms meant to make up for the amount of luck and craziness and swinginess in the game. If you get wrecked, which could happen because you have a bad hand, maybe you did play a couple of things badly, but the luck is certainly a big part of it, they will take care of you once that round is over. You're going to get your special secondary ability from your companion. You are going to draw more of these crazy cards. You are going to be set for the next round, giving you a more likely chance that you'll do well in that one, okay? So if you don't like catch-up mechanisms, especially really obvious ones, there are several in this game. But I like that in this one especially, considering the kind of game it is, very sort of, kooky in many ways, because you're either doing well, you can be like, aha, I am winning, or you have a bunch of toys. And I like both of those. I like when I'm winning in this game because I feel like I'm doing well, and you can, maybe it's just the cards, but whatever, I'm still winning. And if not, then I'm coming back with a vengeance with all these crazy things. And I like both of those. I enjoy both of those situations. Ease of play, I think, is pretty good. The game, the rulebook is well done. I think the game breakdown and the turn structure is well done. It explains itself correctly. So I like all of that. Again, there might be a little bit of a tonal issue here, but overall, how easy is the game to get to the table and play and set up and understand? I think pretty easy. Lastly, tactics, luck, and strategy, which I heed and hawed on, but I have to give it a negative, okay? Because, again, this is a big part of the tonal idea comes into play here. The game is very lucky. It's very swingy. It's kind of crazy. I showed you that one card with the fairies. I mean, this is some insanity. So you have to know that going in, and I do worry that this game's going to have a seriously hard time finding an audience because people who like trick-taking games, who might look at this cover and go, a trick-taking game. Yes, I enjoy those. I like the thinking, the tactical nature that comes with it. No. Okay, this is crazy. And then people who like crazy card games will pass this over, okay? Because it looks like this, and because it's a trick-taking game, which are typically very serious and treated with reverence in many ways. So I do worry about that. I think that's going to make this game have a bit of an uphill climb. Then again, the first one did quite well, from what I understand, enough to put out a sequel, so maybe not. Maybe, I'm wrong. But I like the way this game feels. I wouldn't want every game to be like this, right? I wouldn't want every game to be this sort of brash. But I like that this one does it. I think it works well. And everything it does feel... There are a lot of whoa moments in it, okay? Can you really... it's one of those games where you want to make sure you're someone who's more into the journey than the destination? Yeah, probably, okay? It is lucky. You have some tactics, but it's you're gonna get... there's luck. There's a ton of it. If you enjoy that, I think you're gonna enjoy this. And again, it's just a good, rambunctious in many ways game that then has trick-taking at its core for some fun, following, leading, tricks, I got you kind of thing. So I really do like that. It's hard to put this game in a box. It really is. And I have had a good time with this. And the first one, too. So there you go. All right, this is going to get from me an 8 out of 10, folks. That means it's going to get a seal of approval. I recommend it if you fall into those categories I've been talking about. If you think this is something that you're going to enjoy, you're not too worried about the game being quote-unquote serious, about, introducing anything new to the world of card gaming or trick-taking. It's not going to do that. If you want something silly, fun, that really brings some wild moves to the table, but at its core is usually just a trick-taking game with those sort of moments, then I think you're going to like it. I really do. So 8 out of 10, once again, that is Tournament at Avalon. I'm Z Garcia, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I will see you on the next one.